social is a big area, and let us now take this opportunity to invite Manisha Gargji to address you and take the session, and explain you how, I mean, her area probably around which she knows so best in terms of social media, influencer marketing, and all those aspects. So, Manisha, over to you.
Thank you, Satya sir. I hope I'm loud and audible to everybody.
Yes, very well.
Okay. So, without further ado, let me just have a Hatke session on blogging. And to give you a brief about me, I have about 10 years plus experience in the pharma market research and strategy. I started my career like everybody in the industry as a medical representative with Elder Pharma, and then built my career with IMS and Sagidim. In 2016, I started my blog, Zara Hatke blog, which has over 300 published posts on various topics. And for the last 2 years, Zara Hatke blog comes in the Best India Blogs category. So this is a brief introduction about myself. As a customer on the topic, let's get to the topic now. As a customer or a consumer, today every decision I make is being influenced by something. Right from buying a soap to a car, every purchase decision which I make is being influenced by a lot of factors. It can be either experiences on the basis of my family or friends. It can be online references by different users. I do a lot of research on Google, on various websites, blogs before making any decision. If I have to make it relevant to the pharma and healthcare industry, yes, a doctor prescribes the brands wherein I don't have much of a say. But if they're the peripheral industries, like if I have to make a purchase in terms of nutritional supplements, a glucometer, any kind of an additions, a doctor is an influencing factor. However, I do make my purchases by doing a lot of online research as well. After I gather this bundle of information, I pick up the relevant information from a trustworthy source and then base my decision on that. If I have to think from a marketing perspective, again referring to the pharma and healthcare industry, I have two broad channels through which I can promote my products. The in-clinic sales channel or the medical rep forms the crux of this industry, which is being supported by various interactions through conferences, meetings with the doctors, leaflets, brochures, etc. The digital marketing has gained momentum in the last few years. It started with a simple email marketing, then it extended to SMS marketing. We have a lot of webinars now happening online. There are various mobile application chatbots which help the patient that form a part of the patient support programs by various pharma companies. And the new developing segment is the social media marketing. Now, why social media marketing is gaining momentum? You, me, we all have mobile phones, and there is a person even in a low tier town is having mobile phone, and thanks to Jio, the data charges are much lesser than your normal food charges which we pay. So lot of us are spending a good amount of 1 to 2 hours daily on different social media channels. It can be a Facebook, it can be a LinkedIn, it can be a Instagram, it can be both for professional and personal uses. If I'm spending a good amount of time on social media, it becomes a good platform for different marketing people also to promote their products. So if you have been surfacing Facebook, or Instagram or LinkedIn, you would see a lot of posts wherein it is being written as sponsored posts. So that forms one channel. Again, in social media marketing, if you are promoting your products through a particular person, that forms part of influencer marketing. Influencers over a period of time, through their experience, gain a certain set of readership. Now, there are a lot of doctors who write on various health topics across various social media channels. So they have a readership pertaining to that. There can be a technical person who has developed a readership over a period of time through his various social media channels like website or Facebook or Instagram, and uh, gained a particular readership. So we can promote through these influencing marketing channels our products. Why an influencer? Now, there are various celebrities like Amitabh Bachchan, who is endorsing Kalyan Jewelers. There's Ranveer Singh, who is promoting Kotak. But at a certain level in our mind, we know that they are endorsing the particular brand. But in terms of experience, we still have a lot of doubts. Influencer marketing is something which is different, because here an influencer is not just writing about a particular product or a product service just on the basis of doing research. It's on the basis of actual experience. So when I'm seeing a blog post, or when I'm seeing an influencer post on my social media, it's just not on basis on some random thought. It's on the basis of the experience of the influencer. That's where the difference comes in. Blogging forms a part of influencer marketing. And like, what is a blog exactly? Blog is basically an online journal. I write a lot of my experiences, thoughts in my journal, in a diary. Blog is an online diary. Who can write a blog? Anybody can write a blog. Why a blog? Because blog is something wherein you're sharing your honest feedback with people, and not something which is just on the year and say. It's something which you've experienced yourself. And when you can write a blog, there is no time to write a blog. You can write a blog anytime. So we've, like, in the last 5 to 7 minutes, I've rushed through so many new concepts of what is social media marketing, what are the different channels of social media marketing, influencer marketing, blogging. So I've learned these things, but how exactly can I use these things is what I'm going to answer now. So from a pharma perspective, largely the channel of promotion is from a company to a doctor to a patient for majority of the therapies. Like, it can be hypertensive, it can be cardiac or anything. But there is another subset of promotion for categories like nutritional supplement, which is called as a prescribed OTC brands, wherein a company obviously influences the doctor, but also patient through different channels. Because a patient, if I have to purchase a Pediasure, or if I have to purchase a glucometer, or if I have to purchase a protein supplement, I will refer to the doctor obviously, but I will also do a lot of online research and check other channels and reviews before making the purchase. So where does blogging fit into? Blogging fit into uh, this influencer marketing for creating awareness. All right. Now, before I take pharma examples of how blogging works and how pharma can use it, and let me give you a brief idea or different case studies for non-pharma products. Now, I have, if I have to say, in today, if there is any kind of a new launch in terms of a product or service, the obviously there is a promotion in terms of a television advertisement, or through your newspapers or anything, but simultaneously there is a huge amount of noise levels created through influencers. Now, if I have to launch a new series or a new show on any digital platform today, a lot of bloggers are approached for either sharing their views on the particular series, or sharing what they have liked, what they have not liked, and this is being done through various forms. Now, to give you an example of Breathe, which was the second Amazon original series launched on the platform, they actually invited a set of bloggers. They had the trailers and some part of the series shown to the bloggers before releasing the show on their platform. They took the views of the bloggers, they shared the thought behind the series and everything. The bloggers were then asked to see the series once it's launched and share their feedback on various digital channels. Similarly, if you've seen Ariel, over the last 4 to 5 years, they have come up with the concept of share the load. Now, you've seen various advertisements over the years. Each advertisement has been different. Whenever Ariel launches a new advertisement, there has been a slight difference. First, it was sharing the load, telling the husband to do uh, the laundry. Then it was that, okay, the entire family, there's a working woman and there's a working husband. So how the entire family can also support by sharing the load. And a recent ad has been in the current situation where everybody is managing everything. So again, share the load. Whenever there is a change in the advertisement or they want to bring in uh, a new theme to the entire campaign, they come up with an advertisement. Along with that, this advertisement is being amplified socially through different blogs and social media channels. Now, here, obviously, the advertisements are being shown to the bloggers before it's been sent to the bloggers. The opinions are being taken, and then there is a concept which is being shared by the brand to the influencers, and accordingly, the influencers, on the basis of their experience of the product, share it through their social media channels. Now, these are some examples of non-pharma. If I have to see from a pharma perspective, where information is very important, because you're not just selling a soap or a detergent, you're selling drugs, you're selling medicines, you're selling something which will affect the health and health of a person. Obviously, companies take more care. There are a lot of companies who are doing blogging as a part of influencer marketing, like Sanofi, Abbott Nutrition, Cipla, Johnson and Johnson. Each company has taken a different path. For example, if I have to say, Johnson and Johnson does a lot of social media marketing by inviting mother bloggers for their baby care range, wherein even before the launch in the market, the influencers from all over the country are being invited to a particular place. There are various doctors which share about the products, the product changes, the ingredients, how they are safe for the babies. Then there is a testing phase wherein each of this mother tests the particular product on their babies. It's not just an endorsement. There is a period wherein the influencers are using the products themselves on by themselves on their family members or on their kids, etc. On the basis of that, each of the influencer shares their personal experience to their websites and social media channels like Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If I have to say, take Sanofi for example, Sanofi also follows a similar thing wherein they have invited bloggers on various platforms. It can be through a webinar, it can be through an online face-to-face meeting wherein various doctors share perspective on a particular topic. For example, they have done a huge campaign on allergy free recently because it's the International Allergy Week. So a lot of doctors came and shared their thought processes on the concept of allergy. There was a panel discussion. Various influencers were being, they were part of it. They had a interactive session with the doctors. On the basis of the interaction, the influencers shared their thought processes through various social media channels. Cipla, on the other hand, is not much into advertisements and all, but what they are doing is they have launched a whole range of intimate care for females. They have launched their own hand wash and sanitizers, which they are promoting heavily through influencers. It's not been advertised so much, but it's been heavily there are huge spends happening through the influencers for spreading word of mouth about their products. Now, this is I have taken few examples from both the non-pharma and the pharma side to help you understand how exactly blogging or influencer marketing is taking place. Now, do you approach any random blogger? No. Like I explained you previously, that every influencer has his or her own niche. So depending on the category of the product, the company or the brand approaches a particular segment of blogger. Like for Johnson and Johnson, they approached mother bloggers because it was a baby care range. For a Cipla, because it's an intimate product range, the influencers were largely females of a particular age group. If it's a hand sanitizer, obviously the category of influencers, the base of influencers is large, because a sanitizer can be used by anybody and everybody. If it's an allergy related thing, obviously the influencers will have a certain amount of experience in the healthcare field, or they are doctors or something to related to that field, because obviously the readership will be on the basis of that. So as a marketer, for each, depending on the product, you have to choose a particular set of influencers. Again, not any random influencer, influencer who over a period of time has gained a certain readership or a following. Obviously there are various criteria to do that. I'm not getting into too much details, but every blogger has a certain set, okay, that which makes him or her stand in a level. So every blog site has a ranking, every page or blog post has a ranking overall, through which a marketer can understand that okay, fine, this set of blogger or this particular blogger I should be hiring or not, or this particular influencer has this amount of following on different social media channels, so I will get this particular kind of an engagement. So there are different data analytical points for each of the different tools like blogging and social media marketing, on the basis of which I will select the influencer. Once I select decide the niche, I select the influencer, then I'll be educating the influencer. Influencer would be using that particular product and then sharing their experiences on the basis of that. So we've kind of understood I've taken you through the concept of social media marketing, what exactly is blogging, different examples of blogging. Let me take an example of a brand, Pediasure, because it is something similar to what Volsante has. Uh, it's a growth supplement for kids. So if I take the example of Pediasure has been in the market for a good amount of time. It forms a part of the nutritional category. Obviously it has a lot of good points, that it has certain set of nutrients which is much better than the existing brands. I mean, it has developed a particular base. However, the main uh, selling point of Pediasure still remains that it's the #1 pediatrician prescribed brand, which makes it separate from its competitors. So it has gained that kind of an image or an acceptance level. Now, once a brand reaches a particular age, or you can say uh, uh, a, uh, a part in the product life cycle, obviously it develops a certain OTC component to it as well. So Pediasure has been now promoting their product through various other channels to take care of this developing customer base, this blogging and social media amplification. So what exactly Pediasure is doing? Pediasure, as I just shared with you, is a brand or is a product for the kids nutrition. So obviously I'm not going to be having posts or just say ask the influencers to say, okay, promote my product because it has random 37 nutrients, it has this. No, that is not the way or the approach which a brand generally has. What they do is they have indirect ways of creating awareness and then ultimately reaching to the ultimate goal of promoting the products. What they do is they first approach, obviously the category here of the segment of influencers would largely be mom influencers who have kids of a particular age, because Pediasure is recommended for kids of 2 years plus. So there should be a kid who's 2 years plus, obviously meeting all those requirements. I've shortlisted a set of bloggers. Once I have a bloggers or a set of influencers, I can't directly promote the product by saying, okay, Pediasure is this and that, etc., etc. What I do, I create awareness through different topics. Pediasure has 37 nutrients. So what I can do is I can lay the emphasis of proteins in growing child, or lay the emphasis on why we need external supplementation to for kids, or why 37 nutrients are essential in a kid's diet or form a part. Or we can also take that we can the different supplements a child needs to have. So there are different topics through which a blogger will express the views and ultimately lead to a point of focusing that how Pediasure has helped them in this particular thing. For example, if I have to say for example, if I take the first topic, that why proteins is important. Proteins is important for the immunity, XYZ reasons. And then Pediasure has proteins in it, and how Pediasure has helped the child. So that is where the experience of the blogger comes in. Now, even how is the blogger being educated about this? Obviously, there is a session by the brand wherein the doctor educates the company personnel educates the bloggers about the brand, the details, their vision, and the unique point which the brand has. Then the blogger, like I shared with you, uses the product for a certain period. So every blogger, if you're approaching a blogger, you need to give time to the blogger to use the product and then share the experience. Secondly, blogging also helps to increase the noise level for the particular company in terms of social media ranking. So if there are I have approached 10 bloggers, they are writing 10 different posts for me. Obviously, when they're writing about the product, I would be giving them references that, okay, you can buy the product here, or you can refer to more information on this particular website. When I'm doing that, the main website for the product is getting backlinks from those bloggers, which increases my Google ranking and gives me additional footprints in terms of which increases my Google ranking and increases my noise levels as well. Once a blogger writes about various topics, it doesn't just stop there. It is also been amplified through various social media channels. Now, if I'm writing for Pediasure, I will not just write it just on my blog. I will also share my experience on my social media channels to generate more traffic for my blog and ultimately the brand. So if I'm writing about proteins, I'm writing about the product, I am also sharing that particular content on my Facebook, on my Twitter, on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn, or whatever medium you are using to generate traffic. And that can be in the form of a post, that can be in the form of information, that can be even in the form of a video blogging, which is gaining popularity, wherein I'm face to face in the video format, sharing how I use the product, how has been my experience. And for more information, you can check my blog post on that. So I'm generating traffic for my post and ultimately generating traffic for the product services. So that's how blogging, or you can say influencer marketing, currently takes place for various brands, and specifically the relevance for it in terms of pharma and healthcare industry. In case you have any questions for me, I'm open for it now.
Manisha ji,
Hello,
thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Rahul here.
Please go ahead. Yeah, Rahul, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, we are working on influencer marketing right now, and
Sure.
we have been approaching many influencers.
Sure.
So we are getting responses on their side. So our
Mhm.
next step is to crack a deal and negotiate with them on
Sure.
mutual understanding and mutual basis that will be beneficial for both us and influencer as well.
Sure.
So how do you suggest to proceed with this? How do we negotiate and proceed further? Could you
So,
please?
yes, it's a very good question. So once you've set the criteria for selection, once you've shortlisted the influencers, you need to be very clear in what your expectations from them, because till what level you want to limit, whether you want them to go all out, like do a blogging, do social media amplification, or you just want to restrict them to blogs, or you just want to restrict them to few posts. So you need to be very clear in your deliverables. Once you are clear with your deliverables and your expectations, depending on the time an influencer will spend on that, you need to negotiate the charges with that with them.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi Manisha ma'am, Harsh
Hi.
this side.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for actually sharing these informations with us. Actually, I need to clarify one thing. So I
Sure.
have a small confusion. So
Sure.
I mean, as a startup,
Sure.
suppose you have written a blog or you have identified some blogger who wrote about your product or the
Sure.
ingredient about your product. Suppose
Sure.
he
Sure.
has written about protein, how protein is required for the child or
Sure.
in pregnancy.
Hmm.
So now you have a blog, suppose 2 3 blogs.
Mm-hmm.
Now as a startup you have two options: either you can put the blog on your website
Mm-hmm.
to get some traffic on your website, or
Mm.
maybe you can use this blog to a different page or different blogging site.
Mm-hmm.
So can you use the same blog on both the sites, or you should, I mean, what should be your priority?
You can just to again, a very good question. You cannot use the same content on a different site. So when I'm writing on my blog, uh, the company is selecting my blog because I have unique content. That particular content is on the basis of my experience, not being shared on any other platform. Once that content is live, that is unique. If I share the same content on any other site, it becomes there is a case of plagiarism, which affects both the sites. This my original site where the content is there, and the site where I'm putting that particular information. So in case like there's a startup and I want to add blogs, what the best way to approach that is, if there's a set of bloggers who has written blogs for you, then on your main website you can always share that okay, these are some references wherein you can give the name of the topic and the links to the blog post, which will go to the respective blog post. The other way to do that is, the same content has to be modified. The words have to be modified in a certain way, and you can use that content on your website. Exactly, like if I say, I mean, the same content can't be used on two different pages. I have to modify that particular information, and only then I can use it. However, even if I'm modifying that information, I have to give an acknowledgement to the blogger, because largely 80% or 90% of the content will be on the basis of that.
Okay, thank you so much ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Sure.
Niladri this side. So
Yeah,
my question is, while selecting bloggers,
sure.
do we see the content and also the kind of, does it has to be always positive marketing of the content, or if we see that the people actually trusting the blogger in making decision and buying the product
Mm-hmm.
because the blogger himself or herself is actually being a critic also sometimes, and also giving the truthful aspects of a product. So
See,
in those scenarios, we will select, or how we will go about in evaluating a blog.
yes. So whenever you're selecting a blogger, you will consider those points that, whether the blogger is sharing their actual experiences. Now, whenever a person is writing, he will not only highlight about the good aspects, there could be one or two negative aspects. That is where his honesty reflects. All right, from a blogger perspective. However, you will not make a decision of purchasing a product on seeing critical aspects. So if your product has positive aspects, a blogger will share that, and only, I mean, that will ultimately gain you some sales or some product. You can sell the product. If I'm writing, okay, I purchased Pediasure because it's but it has, this is not good, that is not good, nobody is going to read my blog and buy the product on that basis. I mean, I will not buy that particular product. In fact, I will have a negative image that, okay, fine, this blogger purchased that product, but I don't think so she had a very good experience from that. So positivity or your product unique selling points have to be you know should come up from the different posts or different social media channels.
Okay.
Uh,
Thank you.
Manisha
Hello, ma'am.
ji,
Sure.
yeah, please go ahead with the question. Let's take this as the last question.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, ma'am. This is Amal here. Thank you for the wonderful session. Ma'am, I have a question on blogging itself. So what we have witnessed so far is videos are getting more popularity among bloggers, and people tend to watch more videos than going through the blog. So,
Sure.
what is your take on this, ma'am? And how do we go if we have a concept of video?
Sure.
I mean, to include a video on this.
Sure. So, Amal, to answer you, video blogging is gaining popularity. Yes, fine, but there are still a huge chunk of readers who read, because you will see a video once, but when you are referring or if you have to go back, you will always see some kind of a written content. So even when the companies are approaching various influencers today, they're ensuring that they take care of both the aspects. There is a written content available for any person to see, as well as it could be a video content for a person to see. I mean, in terms of, because through YouTube or through Facebook or through Instagram. So it is gaining popularity, but at the same time, writing or written content can never lose its charm, because people still refer to that.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. But again, the entire context depends on the audience we target, right, ma'am?
Yes, audience. And one more thing I would like to add is, the life for a video blogging is short, whereas for a content it's eternity. Written content is going to be there throughout the life period of a particular product or anything. If I see a video blogging, I may see the blog today, I can see it for the next 10 days, but after, on the 11th day, I will forget about it, or maybe not focus on it. I will not go back to the same videos and see. That's where the written content steps comes handy, and people refer to that.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, everyone. On behalf of everyone, I thank Manisha for this wonderful program. Manisha ji, the way you delivered, I think the interest is such that every one of the 44 students might have a question for you. I have a proposal.
Sure.
Maybe if you all kindly accept it, because considering the huge amount of interest you have generated, a wonderful session earlier conducted by Salil, and Salil also wanted to pitch in again. Probably I don't see him right now on the panel here, But my proposal is like this. If the students also, I think, might find it very useful. You know, I have also a couple of questions to ask,
Sure.
and I'm just keeping them in abeyance in terms of the respecting the time limit now, because
Sure.
otherwise people will say that poor timing will have strategy for dinner. So instead of doing that, what my proposal is like this,
Sure. Sure.
that we want to conduct maybe for the benefit of the students and record that. And I have learned this lesson from you, that we can go digital with that, of actually conducting a session for the benefit of not only these 44 students,
Sure.
but maybe 44 lakh students across the country, wherein I will actually share my personal business real life case with you
Okay,
of
sir.
the same protein biscuit, Volpro protein biscuit.
Okay, sir.
And that will really walk you through the real business challenges. And then we will have Salil also on that call.
Sure, sir.
We will have maybe the other coaches also on the call.
Sure, sir.
We will try to approach and connect the dots, because what happens, I've been realizing, I've attended so many courses, different things.
Sure, sir.
Questions are always technical. People will say, how do you do that? How do you do that?
Yeah.
And then finally, when it comes to deliver a brand plan, a digital
sir.
marketing plan,
Sure,
people
sir.
find somewhere a gap in connecting the dots.
Sure, sir.
So with your kind permission, if you can spare, maybe is Monday a good day actually, evening time or whatever time, I will go by that.
Sure,
What
sir.
suits you?
Sir, it's fine. You let me know. And I will prefer not to have a presentation or something. Let's have
No,
an
no.
interaction and
Exactly.
question answer session, because
Exactly.
from the 4 questions which I just received, I think there are, like you said, there are a lot of questions which are there, and it's better that I answer them individually, because answering will actually help every one of us.
The biggest satisfaction I'm getting, and I'm smiling so broad that I can't, I'm only saying is, it is actually generated in a student in us, that we are also trying to learn. And the case I want to present to you is like a very honest case, where
Sure,
we have made a kind of a marketing struggle to
Sure,
actually decide what should be done. And if that case we are able to put all our wisdom and learning behind it, and then come up with that, that will be a good recording,
Sure,
actually,
sir.
which can be put up on your blog too.
It would be a pleasure, sir.
Yeah. So fantastic. On behalf of everyone, all the coaches, Manisha, a
Thank
round
you
of
so
applause
much, sir,
for
for
you.
giving
Thank
this
you so much.
platform.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
It
Thank you,
was so
everybody.
encouraging.